Let me just start off by saying Monster Hunter 3 Ultimate was a game not meant to be played 4 hours a week because I am not progressing at the speed I'd like here. Pidgey hunts! Welcome back, Classy Crew, to another Hunter Journal. It's been so long since my last journal as I was away on vacation, but we're back, and I don't have that much to report. I fought 2 monsters, but I mostly failed this past week. But I'm going to talk to you about my first impression of a Duramboros and a Nibelsnarf finally. I'm so excited I finally got to see what a Nibelsnarf was all about. The name was cute, and I have to say the monster, it fits the name very well. But the first thing I noticed, okay, maybe it was my first fight going into this that like kind of ruined it. I went after the capture quest of a Laggy, but you fight it in the flooded forest, and I'm at the point where Cha-Cha left me. And I also had 3 weeks of rust to get off of me. So the first fight was horrendous. I didn't have Cha-Cha for the first time for a hard fight. I kind of forgot how to move. I'm in the water. The water is dirty. There's a bunch of vegetation blocking my view. And this Laggy's coming at me kind of hard. And it was really unpleasant. I've been more consistent at playing Dark Souls the last couple weeks. So honestly, it was a very interesting shift in dynamic where, you know, I went from World and Rise to Dark Souls. I was like, oh, Dark Souls is so like slow and clunky. And then I went to 3U and I don't know, I knew it was going to be slow. But now that I've been playing Dark Souls 3 for a couple weeks and I go back to 3U, I'm like, oh my God, 3U is so slow, especially when you're underwater compared to Dark Souls 3. I think I made this comment that one of the biggest difficulty difference, there's this big argument of what is harder, Dark Souls or Monster Hunter bosses. The biggest difference is not so much there's definitely a difficulty mechanic, but Monster Hunter specifically has the length mechanic that is not present in Dark Souls for most of the fights. So even there's the mechanic aspect in Monster Hunter where you have to figure out how to fight the monster, but then you have to stay on that energy level and repeat it several times because the fights unless you're a speedrunner, most monster fights will not be under 10 minutes, or if you're over geared and all that. But if you're progressing naturally, organically, I would say most fights are over 10 minutes easily. And if it's your first time fighting it, it's probably going to be over 20, 30 minutes. Versus when you're fighting a boss in Dark Souls, you're going to be either winning or dying within 2 minutes. It's just much faster fights. So like going in with all of this rust, fighting a Laggy with all these handicaps, it was a chore, and it was my first failed quest to a monster. I completely lost. I think I was in there for 30 minutes and I just was not doing enough damage. I completely forgot how to play this game. And it really left a sour taste in my mouth because I'm like, oh, this sucks. And I wanted to like upgrade my weapon. I don't have parts. And to get the parts, I would have to spend like 4 hours grinding off screen or on stream anywhere just to get it. Like I did a multiplayer stream a few weeks back. And I don't even think I got anything out of it. I got parts, but I didn't get enough parts to do anything useful with it. Everything just takes so long to grind out. After playing World and Rise, as the streaming experience of putting 4 to 8 hours a week, playing it was nice, but with 3U, man, you play 4 hours a week, you're not getting very far. And I'm still just in village quests. I'm at, I think, the 5-star or the 6-star. I just made it to the volcano, and I'm having this much difficulty like progressing. So I'm really worried once they're gonna dial up the difficulty with high rank and then freaking G rank. I'm like, oh my God, it's gonna take me forever to get through this game. So I might have to bust up my stream schedule to 8 hours a week just to get through 3 Ultimate. So I forgot, I'm like, I can't do Laggy. This thing's too hard. I need better gear. I need freaking Cha-Cha. I just need to come back. So I went off on a hot stone quest. I went into the volcano for the first time and to go play with some hot stones because it was the only other quest I could do. There were 2 quests at my stage. One was capture a Laggy. The other one was pick up some rocks. So I tried to give all of you a show by fighting a Laggy and I failed. So I went to pick up some rocks and it was I hate the flooded forest, by the way. It's my least favorite map of all times. I hate that map. But the volcano map, I love it. And I love how it's like built out where you're at the bottom of the volcano and the further you go into the map, the like higher up you go. It's fantastic. It is way better than the Rise volcano map in my opinion. This is one of my favorite maps. The 3U volcano map, love it. So I wander around looking for these rocks. I'm like, what's it going to look like? Eventually, I learned it looks like a mineral deposit. So I grab my rock. I find like little clackers, killed them. I was like, oh, what's going to happen? And what happened? Oh, as soon as I grabbed it, my cold drink ran out. So I was taking damage from the volcano. I was taking damage from the rock. And I'm like wobbling with this thing. And I make it two screens over or so. And I'm like, this isn't going to work. I'm going to die. I'm going to run out of health. Because it's kind of like it's a marathon. You have to basically be at full health when you pick up the rock. And you have to make your way down the mountain pretty quick before your health runs out. Like it's a very different mechanic than the egg mechanic. A very interesting evolution of the egg quest. So I do that, and there's a second rock I have to get, and everyone's like, oh, second rock, is he going to show up? And I like the quest even has the big danger sign, so I know that the second haul is going to be different, that there's going to be a bigger monster in the way or something. I was entirely expecting Aknaktor to show up. I love saying that name, by the way. Chomp, chomp, chomp. Because you got the little baby chompers there. So I'm like, oh, how's he going to show up? So I grab the rock, I look around, nothing. So I'm like, okay, I'll go to the next screen. Where is he? Nothing. Go to the next screen. Nothing. I'm like, oh, he's not going to show up. Go to the next screen. Frickin' Uragon of all things. No, I was not expecting Uragon at all in this game or at this time. But there he is. And I was like, oh, shoot. And so I'm like, wobble, wobble, wobble. Don't look back. And I should have looked back because he did something to me, made me drop my rock. I blew up. Back to camp I go. Oh my God. So before I did that, I sent some revenge poo in his face. I was like, you're going to make me drop my rock. You're going to eat this poo. And so I threw that, healed up, got all my stamina back up, went back up, came back down, and he was gone. Now, I like to believe I scared him with my smelly poo, but everyone's like, no, he just patrols and he's not there. I'm like, okay, you believe what you want, but we all know it's the stinky poo that kept him away. He's like, I am not bothering this man with his rock. He smells bad. So we did that, and then the next quest was finally a new monster, the Duramboros. I've seen this in stories too, but it was my first time fighting it, and this is my kind of monster. I'm like, oh yes, a big chunky mountain, give this to me. And the elder gave me the warning that when he helicopters to stay afar until he until he drops, and then there's a big opening. And this was such a fun fight because it worked really well with my longsword. So I've been using my 2 or 3 basic attacks with the sword, and I really understood better how the longsword worked this time. I learned that, yeah, you have your spirit gauge, which I always knew that you have to charge it and then you go swoosh swoosh until you get like the magic thing. But I didn't realize that when you're attacking a monster, you're charging it, but if you can get it all the way up into the white zone, it'll hold its charge, giving you more time to do swoosh swoosh. So now I was a lot more concentrated of doing more damage so I can get my white bar. And then when he would do his helicopter and jump, I'm like, it's swoosh swoosh time. And I would swoosh swoosh. So I was doing the fight great for like 30 minutes. And then I'm like, wait a minute. He's not drooling. Like, this is going on way longer than it should. And people were like saying, oh, he's like running away from the helicopter. What are you doing? I was like, that's exactly what the elder told me to do. And they're like, no, you got to run to the helicopter. I was like, excuse me, but this is a massive mountain with a big ball on its tail. And you're telling me to run into it. And so I learned the chat's logic meant you have to get inside the helicopter because his feet are together. I don't think I was able to topple him, but if I do it right, you attack the feet, you topple it, and then you can hit the bump on the back, which is apparently the weak spot. So I didn't know that. And for the most part, I think I broke something else on him. In that last 15 minutes of the fight is when I started focusing more on the hump, and I did finally get him down. But man, it took like a good 30-40 minutes, and I was oftentimes charging my sword in yellow or red mode, and like I was hitting it quite often, especially compared to the laggy fight. So this is what's telling me that like, does this thing just have a lot of HP, or is my sword not good? And then I look at upgrading my sword, and I need like so many parts. I'm just like, well, for a streamer experience, it's either I try to fight new monsters or I spend the next 3 hours getting the parts to upgrade a sword, which I don't think is that interesting. So my whole mindset of how I stream this game has to change because this game requires so much more time from you to just get the parts you need to advance. I was not expecting this. So maybe more multiplayer streams is what I need to do. And we are wrapping up Dark Souls 3 soon. So I think what I'll do is training like the Tuesday grind streams and maybe Thursday, progression stream so that we can get through Monster Hunter 3U a little bit faster so that I'm not here until next Christmas still fighting high rank 3U. So Duramboros fell, fantastic fight. I really had a lot of fun with this. He's one of my favorite fights from 3U so far. And then I went to Nibelsnarf, which this was a name I saw at the very beginning, like weeks ago, and I had no idea what it was. I haven't even seen this in Stories 2, so it was a completely fresh new experience. I was like, I didn't even know it was a fish. So it's in the desert. I was like, what's this thing gonna look like? And it looks like the same kind of fish that I fought earlier in the game, but now it's in the sand and it's less creepy. And I just have to say, this is another one of my favorite fights, maybe my favorite fight of this game so far. For sake of fun, I think Laggy is a more like challenging fight, but Nibelsnarf was just a really fun fight. And people were all telling me it was going to be annoying and stuff, but I completely disagree. Like, he doesn't move so much that I can charge up my sword quite comfortably, unlike Laggy. And with the longsword, I was having a good time with him. He had some very interesting moveset. People told me to put the bombs in the sand, so I got him to eat the bomb, which made him open his mouth. And I saw the belly, so I was attacking the belly. And people said you can fish in the mouth, so I missed out on what that is because I didn't have the time to pull out my fishing rod. So I'm going to check that out. But I just love what this monster is. Like, he's got, what do you call it? Gills that shoots sand backwards if you're behind him. He's got this massive mouth. He like swims, and just a really fun fight. Like, I really enjoyed that fight. And after the horrors of my Laggy fight and just starting off so rough, it was nice to have, I almost called him Dumbledore, but maybe we should call him Dumbledore. Dumbledore and Nibelsnarf, two great fights. So the game has kind of opened up to being more good. I just wish I could get my equipment better. But I mean, I am not playing Monster Hunter the proper way. Like, even when you look at my World and Rise playthrough, I would be the type of hunter to mostly, oh, you fight one monster, you keep going. That is not how you play Monster Hunter, and I acknowledge that. It's all about fighting, grinding, getting better, learning and refining your technique against each monster, and through that process, you get more parts to make your armor. And this game really, really highlights that. Also, preparing for your quest, oh my god, I'm doing so many more combination. Yes, it's a lot more tedious, but it's making me appreciate all these items this franchise has, and it makes me feel a lot more like a hunter of like, oh, I need this, I don't have enough room for all this, so let's get rid of this. Oh, we need to combine this, and then I gotta go to my farm, but my farm has no points because I didn't take the time to farm points, and I'm just really strapped for resources. It's a pain. But it's part of the experience. I know if I get the DLC, I could get a bunch of free resources. Not doing that now. I really want to feel what this game was supposed to feel like. Also, the Cha-Cha thing. So Cha-Cha finally came back after Nibelsnarf, or maybe it was after Dumbledore. And we met a new Shakalaka, which is Kayamba. And now I learned that Kayamba and Cha-Cha have this thing going on. I haven't played with Kayamba yet. He's kind of like a little bit of a crazy, aggressive Shakalaka who's all like, I don't need your help, you're my servant. And I'm like, okay, first of all, you watch your tone, because I'm going to replace you with Cha-Cha very soon. So I'm looking for, I think you can bring both. I haven't done a fight with both of them yet. So I'm looking to see how it helps to have two Shakalakas helping me in battle. Maybe we'll go back for the Laggy capture with their help. It should be a lot smoother. And also, now that I've gone rid of the rust and I understand a little bit more of the dance of, you got to know when to dodge, you got to know when to heal. You can't just go willy-nilly at this stuff, because you're going to go through your potions like crazy, or sharpness, and then you're dead. So this game does mess around. So I'm back, and I really got to polish my stuff. I got to grind out some better gear, and like I got to get into a better flow. And when I say a better flow, is I just need to commit more time to playing this game to properly play it right, and not have it be like a chore and a pain to just dabble in it a little bit each week. So I'll let you know if the schedule changes. I have the 12 Days of Hey Jay going right now, so I'm not going to add another Monster Hunter 3U stream. But I look forward to more Dumbledore and Nibelsnarf experiences, because those are my types of fight, and it's a good time. I'll see you on the next journal, and until next time, keep it classy. Subscribe.